If I look more high definition-y, it's because I have fiber internet for the first time.
Oh,
Today.
nice.
No
Nice.
more
How do you
Starlink
like
for
it?
me.
Siren song of fiber internet has been going on since I lived in Tampa 20 years ago. They've been talking about select neighborhoods. And you tell me that your neighborhood is the select neighborhood that they're taking fiber optic internet connection?
Well, apparently they told me that the government just it's like the poor people outreach program. The government just gave the Cox Cable a grant to put it out to rural areas, and I was one of the rural areas.
So they sent some guy to install.
Well, let's
fiber.
welcome
hey.
our guest from the Witness Relocation Program.
Perfect. No, that's
Andy.
perfect, Andy. That's perfect. You've done it.
When I first
Chaille?
saw the young boy,
My lighting's great, Chaille.
It is now. Should I disguise his voice?
Yeah, no, let's just talk to him. Let's just do the podcast like this, and then it'll just have that feel.
how's
This
this?
is 204.
Boom.
Perfect.
Yeah,
All right, no,
perfect,
Andy, just stay like that. I mean it. Let's just
perfect.
stay like that for a little while. Let's just talk about life.
We got
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Issues with Andy, episode 200 and what is it? 204.
we finally got diversified here.
Smile so I can see you, Andy.
This is turning out to be digital racism. I wasn't trying to go black.
It's not right to do a performance in blackface, but it's fine to do it in black shadow. That's a whole different connotation.
Yeah. Nobody's been in trouble for black shadowing.
That's right. Fine.
Technology's, it's good. The sun's going to go down, and then I'm going to be more lit up.
Yeah,
here.
let's just wait it out. There's really no reason to draw the lines.
How do you end racism? Wait.
See, and this actually
Just don't.
I just got that, Chad. Well done.
Chad's a sniper when he's sober.
Who said that? Oh,
There he is.
Casper.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say that it makes the kind of the vibe of our text message thread. It just puts it right in there because 5:30 Andy time. You can definitely tell it's 5:30 Andy time. It's right there behind you. So
I think sunset's like coming, or sunset's in about 4 or 5 minutes. So you just watch the effects of me coming into focus. It'd be like a CGI.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it'll be like.
I do
Joe
have
works
your,
on a lot of levels, Erickson, because it's now 10 minutes after 5:30. So it's Andy people time.
If you've ever wanted to Photoshop yourself onto Issues with Andy,
Oh, yeah, here it is. Be your own. Make yourself a guest on Issues with Andy.
Yeah, maybe that's something we'll offer for Patreon. We'll just put you in. You will just
sit in studio.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here, hold still, Andy. I want to get a screen
Your
grab.
face
Hold on.
here.
Andy, hold still right there. Ready? Everyone smile. Perfect. I do have Andy's sunrise. I do have Andy's sunrise this week.
Wow.
Right on the way.
All right, if I
start
put my
there.
face real close in it, look at
These
this.
pictures are incredible, Andy. Every time you
Yeah.
post them, I am blown away by how
Beautiful.
unbelievable they are.
Yeah, I did
They're
today.
like Bob Ross paintings.
Uh-huh.
Even my fat ass could be motivated to walk up there once in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it is one of those things where if you knew that was at the top every morning, you would drag your ass out of bed.
Yeah, but after a week, Chad would realize that the other guy's going to take pictures of it and bring them right back down.
Yeah, I just wake up and look at yesterday's picture. I'm pretty fucking smart. I'm like, man.
I'll wait for you down here. Get a good snap though. Hurry up. It's coming up. You got to get up there.
I'd wait down at the bottom and get a blowjob from that one guy.
Totally.
For the guy to bring me a picture.
I haven't
Hey,
seen
did you run into that guy again, Andy?
No,
Is
the
it
flash,
more uncomfortable?
the guy walked up on the first day.
Yeah.
Has not been there since. His walk up there with a flashlight with me was more terrifying but since that day I did 21, or I took a day off after that, and then I did 21 straight days, and it was broken up today because there was a snowstorm.
Yeah.
In the car in front of me going up there was the guy who, it's like the guy who, you know, gets there or bothers me. He's the guy who cut me off in the parking lot that one morning and apologized. He's like, but he's like, he's just like, today I got to this intersection and it's like, you know, 5 or 10 to 6 or whatever, whenever it was, and then he's right there. So I'm like, good, I can gauge this, you know, see how this guy does in the snowstorm. And then he got all sideways and shit. So I decided to save my energy after 21 straight days. I was going to go 28 straight days, but like the show alone, you don't always make it to the end. Sometimes you get belly sick.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. You might eat too much tree bark.
too much.
There's a bear.
Yeah.
You can get some Jamie Beaver out on the trail.
Oh man. Or that guy remember the guy was eating the lichen? He had to boil it like and rinse it a bunch of times to take the acid out of it. And he didn't make it long. That was the guy who was tried making a log cabin.
Yeah, I like that kid. I like the kid who checked out right away.
Yeah.
He was like, fuck this. It's like the Fry Festival. I'm not doing this shit.
Well, I could get kind of why he was bailing out, because he got to a point where it's like, I really enjoy nature, but everything in nature out here, I'm killing. And so
that's right. He got all sentimental. I killed him.
Down with that.
I don't like to see all the squirrel death.
That's just a way of saying I can't hack it.
Right.
Well, I mean, he was hacking it though. He was eating fine.
I think it's a sign that when you are truly alone,
it's the loneliness.
It's the brain. It's the, you know, like all of the shit that you've been suppressing starts to come out.
Yeah.
And it seemed like
you don't want to start thinking about
a lot
your
more
mama.
going on than just he didn't want to kill a squirrel. Like, you know, you start to that makes you uncomfortable. You know, some people can't hack it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to start thinking about your mama out there.
Right.
Right. It's like you know, he's just like, if your mom pops into your head, get it the fuck out of there.
That's why I said one of my 10 items would be War and Peace. I just want a 1,200 page book I can read so that my brain doesn't have to think about it.
I don't think anyone brings a book. I don't think you're allowed to.
No. If you get 10 items, you can bring whatever you want.
There's some things you can't bring.
There's a list of
things.
Yeah, but a book is that's like shit that.
We'll check.
Have you seen anyone with a book?
Who's producing this show? Ron DeSantis? No, the reason people don't have a book, Chaille, is because people don't want to take a book. They value the 10 items. They need a survival
exactly.
item.
And you could burn the pages.
For me, would
too.
Be one of those items. They would let you take a book if you wanted to take a book.
I don't think so. Let me see. I'll find out.
You could burn the pages of it too. That would be like after you read.
Andy, they're in a forest full of wood. They could make their own book
with it. That'd be an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
If they don't let you take a book because they think that you're going to cheat by wiping your ass with it, then you don't want to be in that contest. These are untrustworthy people, and I don't like the way they're thinking about setting up a contest.
My favorite.
Here we go. Ready? You guys ready? From Reddit on the Lone TV thread. Why does nobody bring any books? They're allowed, and this was June 17th, 2020. They're allowed 10 items from a list of curated items from the show's production team. That list is confidential and books are not allowed.
What? All right. That's stupid. I guess they don't want you to be, I guess they want you to be truly
What are you
alone.
going to do? Try and get your GED
it's pretty boring footage.
No, I just like the one guy one season, remember he carved himself a deck of cards.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. All right. You know, that wasn't super impressive. And like, so if you had a book, you could just read a book. I mean, I thought basically you could take whatever 10 items you wanted, and there was a list of things you couldn't take. Like, you know, if you want to go on the show with 10 books and try to survive, I don't see why you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Well, I think
take a shot at it.
I think it's
the production team gives you a camera to view what you're doing, not you reading a book.
How the fuck are you gonna eat, man?
look, I'm not saying it would be exciting TV. If that's your angle on how they establish the rules, that's fine. I'm just saying that, you know,
They ban you
you're
from
allowed to take
jerking?
whatever you want to take, you know.
I know Naked and Afraid for they have people around so you don't want to jerk off, but I mean, well, I guess, it's up, the people can. You
Think
can,
about it, Andy.
obviously.
They control the
Right.
record
I
button.
I realized
You're
that as I
filming the
said it. Of
footage,
course they
though.
can.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think I could be able to
Andy
show
would
that.
accidentally film himself jacking off like twice a day.
No.
Multiple times.
They just
Andy,
get
you got
the guys
you're
get
wasting
all
all.
of
You can't
Andy's
use
footage,
this
and that's
footage.
all it is. It's just
They would
Andy
be
just
calling him on the radio not to tell him when the medical checkup was, but to be like, dude, your camera's on again. Honestly, stop it. Coming
I do it
directly.
like medically.
Freaks
And like,
out, man.
I mean,
Again, Andy,
that would be a show I could
You gave us
participate.
3 fucking memory cards full of you jerking off. We can use none of this. We're gonna take you off the show if you don't give us something we can use. We can't use any of this.
How
the
have you
medical team
not
says
lost
you
any
are-
weight?
The medical team says you are
Like-
very well rested.
Like day
We
day
get
70.
it. You're eating better than anybody else in the show.
Day 70, I'd be like, I'm too weak. I'm barely able to jack off today. I think I'll just like
Pretty cold.
Pretty
It's
cold.
been down below freezing most of the night, but I was able to get it out. And, after a little bit, I was able to work
I think I'll
something
probably
out.
just jerk off one more time today and then call it good.
Look at that view. It's just Andy jerking off to different views, every single footage.
I knew that beaver fat would come in handy.
Yeah, I don't think I could kill anything or build anything.
Thanks, buddy. And then he just releases the beaver. It's still
Yeah.
alive. What? Wait a minute. How did you do that?
Did he just fuck a beaver?
Yeah. How
He
did you
fucked the
do-
beaver tail.
Yeah.
Raw beaver.
Think about it.
It's always
Andy?
been the dream.
Yeah.
Raw
Chasing
beaver.
beef. Yep.
There maybe there'll be a show like that, just like nature jacking across the continental divide or something.
You could be the Rick Steves of
Yeah.
jacking off in Europe.
Andy's
Yeah.
wish book.
It's like you gotta hit all these places,
Yeah.
and if there's somebody gets there before you, you gotta wait till they're done.
Well, like a boat ramp, like a launch. You gotta wait
Well,
till the other guys.
I mean, it'd probably be at the very beginning, it's a sprint uphill. Whoever gets there first, and then it's like stacked order, and then it's like you get to wear
Oh,
the
you're
yellow
still
jersey,
you're still talking about your mountain, right?
and then you don't want to think about your mama neither on this one either.
That's another problem,
Oh.
She just keeps creeping into your thoughts when you're jacking
Yeah.
off, like, oh man, I gotta quit the show, I'm tapping out. I keep thinking of my mom when I'm jacking off.
Your family shows up to get you. You've won at the end. You're
Yeah.
fucking jerking off.
Mama shows up. Mama.
Oh,
Yeah, it seems like that's the thing about that show is you got some weird fucking issues with your mother. They may be in check for 40 days of that shit, but if you make it long enough, you'll be babbling about in front of a camera, and then
yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. That's why you can tell a lot of the people who are good at it have already dealt with some of those issues and are kind of,
Or
you know,
have kind of
okay.
a clear head.
yeah, they're okay with their
Carefree.
own thoughts, like that one
Yeah.
season when they were up in the Arctic. We've talked about this a lot. So, but when they got to the final 3, all 3 of those people were just incredibly impressive to me with the
Cruising.
way their
Yeah.
brains worked, like that's what I want. I want that sort of calmness, that sort of like,
It's like a zen
satisfaction
thing.
with the way the fucking universe is spinning around you, like that's impressive to me. If you can manage that out of what you're doing, it's worth it on that level. But
I think one of the final 3, one of them was like that, where she's like, I think it was the gal who's like, I'm fine. I don't need to win. She was
The-
like total zenned out being out
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
They didn't pull her on a medical or anything like that. She was just like, I'm done and I don't need to win.
Well,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
that was it. There was the last 3, and then the one girl they took off because she had frost. She was getting frostbite.
Yeah,
in her toe.
frostbite.
but she was totally in a good spot. You know, she was the most impressive one.
Yeah.
The problem was that you were never going to beat that crazy Alaskan guy who built that rock house and ate the
Yeah.
fucking grass that was inside the stomach
How
of the
come
muskox he'd killed with a knife.
How
Like,
come
you're not
he's
going to beat that guy. He's going to stay out there longer than you.
What,
So
what do they call that?
Yeah.
Chime? I think they call it chime.
I don't remember.
Eating the junk in the
Oh.
stomach.
But you can always hope somebody gets intestinal, problems. If we were doing this, I would say
See,
Chad would win. I would get eliminated first, and then I don't know. It'd be between shelter building between Chaille and Erickson.
oh, I would lose right away.
Yeah, I'd go. I'd be pretty.
Andy, I think you'd stay out a little
Yeah.
while because you're,
I'd
you're,
buzz
you're
first,
kind of a
probably.
loner. You
Yeah,
kind of
I could hack it a while, but like bug bites or any adversity,
Yeah, that's the worst.
you see me trying to calmly build a dock to
Yeah. I'm with Andy now that he says that, Chaille. I don't think he could last.
Yeah, I think you're right.
night.
Yeah,
The only
I
thing-
take that back.
the only
The
thing that would
footage would
keep
be
me warm
hilarious,
would be my
though.
daily rants. Yeah. Those would be I could do good shit camera shit. Like what
Trying
the
to
fuck,
pound
man?
the first stakes into the ground to, be the foundation of his shelter, and he's already everything's thrown.
Yeah,
to the
I
ground.
definitely don't know
The
how
image
to
of
do-
Andy trying to calmly build a dock was that when he said that was like, yeah, he could not.
Yeah, there's no
Calmly do
aspect of
anything.
any of it, that I could excel at. I'm not a very good shot.
Me either, though.
I couldn't
Yeah,
skin an animal.
I
couldn't
would have no
even
idea.
chat.
I'd be mortified to have to do that.
I'd be
Yeah.
halfway through a shelter and then be pissed off that it was over. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
What if we did it like this? What if the three of us took you on and Matt? It had to be like one of us had to be out there. So like, the other two
Tag
could
team?
Yeah. I bet you Chad would still beat us. I'll bet you that we
Oh, yeah.
couldn't.
I would much rather live out like that than the way I do now. I fucking hate life right now. If I had to go out and fucking survive, I would
Yeah.
actually like it. I would have something to do every day. Right now, I just fucking want to kill myself. But if I had something to
smoking.
do each day, I'd have a purpose actually, and I would probably enjoy it.
I don't think we'd make it more than a week, because probably each one of us could do a day and then be like, all right, that's it. I'm tagging out. You take over. And then by the second time through, it would be painfully clear that it was not going to get better. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like Shaylee's going to knock out 3 weeks while Andy and I take time off and recuperate. You know what I mean? So I don't think we'd get through the second round.
Yeah, I'd get a fucking bug bitten and call it good.
The bugs is what
I don't like
takes me out
bugs.
on, like
Bugs,
Naked
I
and
need-
Afraid when they're covered in
Yeah.
bugs. Oh,
I don't think I can watch Naked and Afraid anymore because it just looks like pussy
It's-
shit now.
Well, it's
Stage.
I don't
it's-
watch it anymore.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
exploitive as like hey, that's what they want, is they want you crying.
It's a
in a
titillating
puddle with
thing,
a
but
bunch of
it's
bug bites in your
it's
back.
over. It's like
Right.
Yeah. It should have
If they
gone.
can get leeches on you, then that's like the fucking money shot right there,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then when there is a hot one, then they cover the taint up, or anything you
The review took a turn, everybody.
I mean, I'm kind of glad that they've got that
Taint's the
training
wrong
ground for guys on for interns to learn how to blur stuff.
Yeah,
You want to
right?
look at some, even if it's a hot chick, it looks like the inside of a chili can
I'll
because she's
bet
been
they.
sitting on her fucking it's gross.
I'll bet they. I'll bet
It's
the
not even
editors.
interesting to me anymore.
I'll bet the editors of that show lock their door when they're working. But yeah, it's just like, it's the same shit over and over. And then what's really gross is like the groups. It's like you got like 4 or 5 dudes hanging out and getting all alpha with it, It's like
Yeah.
fucking cut the bullshit and get out there and fuck.
And the other part of it is honestly that for me, the real attraction is that these people are absolutely alone. That's
Or what?
fascinating
Annoying?
to me. Absolutely alone.
Alone.
And alone.
So,
Yeah.
Are naked and afraid, whether they're naked, all of that doesn't matter. The fact that they're with somebody and then they've also got a camera crew with them, You know,
Would you
they're
like to
not
see
in real
somebody-
danger, or and there's no way they're ever going to have an epiphany or a real test. You know, it's just like, you know, drop them off naked and see how long they can go without tapping out. You know,
It's worn off the appeal, I think.
yeah.
I've never seen that.
throw a
agree.
hooker out of your car in Nebraska. Follow. It doesn't have to be yeah. Well, I mean, you know, throw anybody out of the car in winter conditions naked and then follow them with a camera at a distance.
It's fucking windy and cold and rainy here, and I didn't want to go get the mail. And I had a jacket on,
Oh,
you know?
dude, I had to fucking go get my garbage can down the road and fight with it all the way back. And I felt so bad because the power was down for a couple hours, and it was because power lines snapped off.
Oh shit.
Oh, because
And
of the
that's
wind.
how bad. Yeah, we had like 50-mile-an-hour winds here all day today. And I felt bad. Those guys got it all fixed up in probably within about 3 hours. And I was
wow.
like, those guys are badass. I hated just dragging the garbage can back in. And those guys are out there putting power
Live
lines
wire.
back up. Yeah.
But you should send some of them to Austin because they were dog shit trying to get the power back
Wow.
on here.
That's
They're
because you
always
got
great here.
all them cars racing around cutting cookies in the middle of the
Yeah,
fucking road.
yeah, man. We got a scene developing here in Austin.
I can't wait to.
Weird.
Well, there's something. I think it was a riot or some shit went on down at 6th Street. This is a few months ago. It
Mhm.
happens all the time or
Probably.
whatever, but
Yeah.
there's something that was on the news, and my daughter was like, "Well, maybe we should reconsider going to Austin." And then, you know, I was telling her, you know, I showed her that other thing there with the what was
we'll
that?
go
It wasn't
street racing
really.
when you guys are here.
It's just like the cops, you know. It's like an impromptu cookie cutting session and fireworks display.
What do you mean
Yeah.
cookie cutting? What does that mean?
Well, when
Donuts.
cars spin out or
All right.
circles, cutting cookies,
What'd you call them, Chaille?
Doing donuts.
Doing donuts.
Biscuits.
Donuts.
Biscuits. I think you're just hungry, Andy.
No, I
I've
had
never
my
heard
dinner.
either of
What are
those
you-
terms.
What are you from, Lancashire on Trent?
This is, you know, we got things down here now on issues with Andy 203
204.
203.
204.
204.
When I want an early dinner, I get an early dinner now. So that took some doing, man, you know.
Yeah.
And I pitched it on the floor, or I mean, not the dinner or whatever. I mean, I pitched it, you know, as an idea, and I reinforced it, and then you know,
Yeah,
hit and
good.
miss. But if I tell her in advance that I want dinner at a certain time, like I guess maybe she's learning through her religion. You know, maybe I've been consistent in my teachings. But now it's being reinforced in a place where she really, you know,
Oh my
gets her
God.
truth. The hall.
So what'd you have for dinner?
That was real fucking easy. Beans
What?
Okay.
and cornbread. It's
Yeah.
we have like certain dinners, and then fuck, what do you call that shit? I don't want fuck, man. Swiss chard. That's it. I was gonna call it
Swiss
collard
chard?
greens.
Yeah,
Because I was
it's
still
kind of
in
like
the black-
collard greens.
I
It's
was still in the
it's
blackout.
Yeah, you steam it.
Uh-huh.
It looks like kale.
Or spinach.
Yeah. So we have that. That's like
Beans and cornbread. It's like that's what you eat if you're living in a tent.
well,
I
it's about
wait, I
once
had
every 3
beans
weeks.
for
About
dinner.
once
too.
every 3 weeks.
Just beans?
Yeah.
Well, also charred.
Well, it had ham hock in it too. I had
Well,
beans with
yeah.
ham hock.
That's kind of hearty. Tent
Chad,
people don't get the ham hock.
Do you feel like you should gnaw the meat off the skull of the javelina?
I was going to, but I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah. There's a few things you haven't crossed, but you could probably do almost all that shit. Could you build a shelter?
Oh, definitely.
See,
Yeah,
I
I
could
wouldn't.
build like a
I wouldn't
hobo.
be able to do that.
I'd find some cardboard and just wrap up in it. And then
Cardboard in the fucking
remember
Labrador.
Chaille? Well, yeah, Erickson was there too when we were at that festival in the Lowlands Festival.
Yeah, Lowlands in
We were stuck there overnight because we missed all the shuttles and inadvertently smoked meth, or maybe vertently.
Well, now, Andy, they told us if you go over to that other area, you're not going to be able to come back. We didn't miss the shuttle. We chose not to take advantage of the last shuttle.
We made a decision.
Yeah, we made a practical decision to stay and do white drugs with Hell's Angels. And
Yeah.
and then I tried to sleep partway in, and Chaille, bless his heart, wrapped me with something that was colder than the cold air. Like a picnic blanket, which traps the cold air on you. You don't see anybody on that alone show wrapping up in a picnic blanket.
That's not one of their 10
Or
items.
a picnic table cover. It's not even
tablecloth.
If you
tablecloth.
find that, if you just find that organically, you can use it. So maybe you're out there on a loan and you just find a picnic table cover.
Surrounded by, and then my
You're in a park.
Yeah, and then we were that was a different kind of show there, but we all got was it that night you went missing, or was it
Erickson was missing?
Yeah, we tried to keep
Well, there were two nights, because the first night we all stayed and we did a bunch of ecstasy, and we gave Christine Levine ecstasy for her first time. And we were jumping rope with those people. Remember that, with the big rope from the side?
Is that in the big EM?
That's when you disappeared.
tent?
You went in.
No. So then we did all that, and then Andy tried to go to sleep inside that big tent, like that slept like 12 people.
It looked like a Sultan's tent out in the.
It was a big one, and he figured there was enough people in there that he could slide in there and just
find a corner to sleep in.
One of many, and no one would care. And Chaille and I are like, I guess it's like 5 a.m. and we're like, I guess, dude, like, all right, if you're serious, we're going, we're just gonna keep going. And like a minute later, and Andy walks into this tent that does look like a Sultan's tent out in the middle of the desert. And maybe 15 seconds go by.
Not even.
All of a sudden, Andy comes flying out of the front of the tent, like
under a flap. Like not even through a door.
Like Laurel or Hardy getting tossed out through the front door. Like, God, it was great.
Well,
and then we went back and we finally got back into the backstage area where our shit was at like 7.
Yeah, we had to crawl, like break into the
right. And then we got back, and then that's when we so then we had to wait for like the festival to start that day, and we slept a little bit in like our green room area. And then the next night you guys all went back, and I just stayed, and I just hung out with some guys I met.
Yeah, that was Erickson completely disappeared on us that night. But
that was the second night, and then we were done performing. That was Saturday night. So then on Sunday, we didn't leave till Monday. So on Sunday, the festival is still going on. And that's when we met up again the next day at the Tool show.
Yeah.
That you found me? That was
right. Yeah. Like Erickson had disappeared, and I was holding a joint that next day. I was like, well, when I run into Erickson, I'll smoke it with him. And then he didn't turn up at any, we couldn't find him. It's like, but the Tool was playing, and I was like, I tried to get up close for a bit, but it's like, you don't fucking get elbow room in a Tool concert. I kept shoving back, and I was on a hill surrounded by people, and then I just decided, fuck it, I'm gonna light this joint. And then fucking Erickson's right there. As soon as I lit the joint, and it's like, oh, and I handed it the joint.
Like rubbing a genie's lamp.
Yeah. It was
nice like that, man. Serendipitous. That was a wild weekend.
Yeah, I remember when we were leaving and we had all that, it was like, it's the first time, like, weed wasn't legal here, so going and just buying amounts of weed was great.
Yeah, but it was all that they had those pre-rolls that had tobacco with them.
Everything was
super harsh.
Yeah, everything was mixed with tobacco.
Yeah.
The Europeans couldn't believe it that we didn't smoke cigarettes.
But, so I remember we had a big pile of weed, and I just was like piling it on a can, just burning it. Just it's like I hated to leave it behind, but I only
If you can't have it, nobody can.
It was wild how wild it felt to smoke weed like publicly, like
right. Yeah.
it was such a thing. Like growing up, it was such a thing to think about, oh, we'll go to Amsterdam someday and we can fucking do drugs and party. And then you get there and you're doing it and you're like, holy shit, this is great. And then
you do it
later, who'd have thought that half the fucking country would have legal weed by now? I never did.
Well, in 1984, when I was a senior, I thought within 3 or 4 years, like by 1990, it will be legal. Come on. I didn't think it would take this long.
I thought it never would happen.
Really?
Yes.
I think I'd ever
when I was even in the 80s, I felt like when I was in college and smoking weed a lot, I felt like there was no chance that it was ever going to be made legal. They might stop trying to arrest everyone for it all the time, or kind of stop giving a shit. But to make it legal and then to make it recreational, where you can anybody can go fucking buy weed and smoke it, I think it's great. But I
just never thinking that would be a reality.
Absolutely,
you don't have to worry about it in your state, though, right? Like Texas, it's never going to happen.
No,
right?
It will eventually.
Yeah,
just too much money on the table.
Yeah, I mean, it really Texas. As soon as any state does it, they're like, oh Texas, fuck, man, bro. Yeah, it's totally cool.
They just legalized recreational in St. Louis, in the city of St. Louis. When I was there for the weekend, our show was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we were driving by this one place, and it said, "We'll be open on Saturday," right? And I'm like, what the fuck was going on? And I asked them when they go, yeah, it's legal this weekend. That Saturday, just the tax from the very minimum of places that were open and selling on that Saturday was $2.5 million for the city of St. Louis for that one day, the one fucking day. So
they got the whole economy going. I mean, like fucking people, like we're broke, we don't have any money, and then they legalized the selling of weed, and everybody's breaking out fucking jars of dough.
Yeah, they like keeping it illegal here though, because it gives the people who love cops a reason to arrest liberals and hippies and smack them over the head with clubs, and all of that feels great. That's more important than stimulating the economy. And
well,
actually,
as an Antifa member, that's
it's fun to wield the club, because who's hurt by weed being illegal? Dopers. That's it. Who gives a fuck?
Those fucking good for nothing hippies.
Right.
All I want to do is go to
mindset here.
Go to
and it can be used at will.
Absolutely.
Without,
it's every traffic stop is up. I smell weed. I'm searching the car.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I saw cops pulling over people randomly at a Dave Matthews concert. It's like that just
maybe that was just to tell him to turn around and get the fuck out of there.
They were probably arresting him for going to a Dave Matthews concert.
Right. Yeah, and I was just there, I was there to criticize others.
Yeah, why were you there?
I don't know, man.
I like these too, Andy. Don't be ashamed.
Yeah,
I let these guys.
I like that Boyd Tinsley. I thought Boyd Tinsley had great hands.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Speaking of hippies, I'm going to Twiddle next month, early at the beginning of the on the same week. So I'm going to see Twiddle, and I did get mushrooms. So I got
good for
Twiddle
you.
and then Humphreys McGee on. So Twiddle on Wednesday, Humphreys. They're going to be in Eugene on Friday, March 3rd or 5th, something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to be there in the under 18 pit. Or under well, I mean, I could have gotten the 21. I'll be in
Wait, you buy a ticket based on what age group you want to hang out with?
No. Yeah, I guess so.
Concerts have changed,
a little
man.
different, Chaille. You got a different style with these shows, man. You
I'm
want to
in
be
it.
around your people, you know.
I want to dance, dance in front of some hopeful home health nurse types.
Mm.
I'm
Good for
auditioning.
you. I'm gonna go see Humphreys here in April.
It's their 25th anniversary, man.
It sure is.
I've been listening to their. I don't know their music that much. I'm just going based on, well, I heard it at the in Death Valley, but I've been listening to it on my hike up into the on the hill there.
Oh, good for you. So when you're listening, when you're listening to all these jam bands, you really what you should be listening to is their live performances, because that's kind of what they do. Like, you know, they put out all their shows on nugs.net or whatever, you know. You can and the way the songs build and change. If
Wait,
you
is that guy wearing a dress?
it's nothing like what the song sounds like when you're playing it. Like, that's the whole point. So
I hope they're not wearing dresses when I go to the show, because
Did
I'm
you
not
just call that
woke.
guy a guy?
I mean, look at this. This is the Humphreys stage.
This isn't necessarily a Dave Matthews show. I get it, guys. It's not your thing.
Yeah, I don't know that they'll be able to get away with a whole lot of that kind of lighting at the McDonald, but you know, I immediately, you know, as those started coming up, I realized I was out of mushrooms.
Yeah, you should be on mushrooms for that, Humphreys, for sure.
Yeah,
Twiddle's good too. I like Twiddle.
Going out of business.
Yeah, they're retiring, right?
Yeah, they're breaking
up. Are they from
band.
Eugene? They're from Oregon.
No, they're from Vermont.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
I thought they were from Oregon. I think we talked about this too, now that I said that. Seems like they play out there all the time.
Nah, they kind of did. I don't know. They toured a bunch, but yeah, they
I'm just making up things in my head then.
They're done. I think they're gonna go. I think their lead guy is gonna go more reggae. And I don't know. They've been together. It's a weird thing is they were together like as a high school band almost. I mean, they started together that young, and then they just had enough.
Well, I mean, like they're out all the time.
It seemed like. I mean, they tour a lot.
How'd you get into Twiddle? I think now that I think about it, I think I probably just assumed Twiddle was from Oregon because you were really into them for some reason. How did you find out about Twiddle?
They were on the Dan Patrick show on 420.
What?
Yeah, they were the house band on Dan Patrick's show.
Oh, really?
And then as it happened, I mean, as I heard about them, like, you know, I heard about them on 420, I guess it was, and then they were at the county or not called the country fair in Eugene, which is just a hippie. They call it Renaissance, but you see more tits than jokers. Yeah, I don't see a lot of gestures, but I see some flappy hippie titties. But Twiddle played at that, so I went out and saw them after.
They're good, right?
So I heard them, and then I liked that. And then they came back around on an opening for some other band thing. Sister Soldier or Soldier. Shit, man. I don't know. But so yeah, you know, but I also know, you know, it's like you don't want to be the old fucking hippie, but I feel like you know, if
you're not that old, there's people older than you at these shows.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that.
I mean, I'm in training, like I'm the third apprentice to the wizard spinning around in tie-dye. And I don't, you know, I mean, I know I have to be on a lot of drugs to get into that whole mode anyway.
Yeah,
but if you see me spin dance and fucking stay back.
Well, hey, I found something for you guys. So that's the band?
That's Twiddle.
They were just being the house band there.
But I mean, it's just 3 dudes?
4.
No, there's 4.
Oh, I didn't see the drummer.
Yeah, they can't. Well, they don't see him anymore either because he got booted from the band about a year ago and hasn't reappeared, and they got a new guy.
Is he missing?
He had some sign off like he was gonna go get to rehab, and then he's kind of, you know, off of.
Oh, he didn't go out for smokes and then just never returned. There was an
Yeah,
issue
some-
with his drinking.
He went
I
out
guess
with
so,
folks and
yeah.
joined Blink 182.
But I mean, like I said, they were, they were together as like a high school age
Yeah.
going forward. So it seemed weird to me that he just like was dismissed and never came back or was mentioned. But
Yeah, they're probably just sick of each other after a while. You know?
Yeah,
Just ready
yeah.
to go separate ways.
well, that's the thing with the
Did a
hippie
lot of
jam
stuff.
bands too, is they put out like 2 studio albums or 1 double studio album. I think Twiddle maybe put out like 3 or 4 studio things, but then they've been playing together for 20 years or
It's
less.
it's an interesting business model to me, because instead of the thing that we're used to thinking about a band like making a record and selling a lot of records and making a bunch of money and then doing a tour that basically breaks even or maybe makes you a little bit of money, but basically you're just trying to stay out there and stay relevant and
Just to sell
create a
records
bigger
that aren't
fan so
selling.
that on your next record you can sell more records. But these bands do it the other way. They put out a record in order to fund doing shows, and then these shows become these big productions, and then people come to see the show. That's what you do, the studio album, just to keep it fresh so that you can pay to go back out on the road and do live shows. It's the other way around.
I'm
I
like,
think that'd be interesting.
I mean, I
I
don't even
think
know
that's
how-
probably more like I think that's more like it's always been for musicians, right? Like musicians mostly had to make their money playing live. That's how you made money.
Well, the record companies wanted you to go out and push the record. They wanted you to get out of the studio as quickly as possible to start pumping the record, and that is to be playing dates and staying out on the road. And then you get, I mean, basically the band's upside down the minute they get in the studio anyway. They have to, the record company's got to recoup all their money before you even get a penny. So, I mean, yeah, that's the tours make money on merch.
Right. So if you don't really give a fuck about albums and you're not trying to make money off your records, selling your records, then you're just trying to build an audience for playing live. And then the playing live part becomes the way you actually make money.
Yeah, they
Humphreys
like,
McGee has made tons of money playing live because they play these festivals and they get, they just, have that's how they do it. And they have, you can buy the $600 Humphreys McGee VIP package for the festival, and you can
the Golden
hang
Circle
out with them at a fucking meet and greet on Saturday afternoon and have some beers, and I mean, it's just, they're just fucking rolling in it. It's to build that, and then that becomes the product. The shows that you're doing live are different all the time, so I think that's a more interesting way to do it.
Well, it's definitely a way to make money doing it. The other way is a lot of work and no real, I mean, the return on investment is very low.
Yeah, the record company decides how much they're going to pay you.
Yeah.
Twiddle had a pretty smooth operation. They had like a manager guy, a merch, they get to a level where they have a pretty nice bus to tour with, and they also got a kick. Like a band like Twiddle has a really good light guy too.
Yeah.
I mean, they bring that's like a unseen member of the band that creates the magic that is part of the experience, I'm sure.
Yeah
And
absolutely.
thus
It's the whole thing, but the point is to play live, not the other way around. They don't give a fuck if they sell. Humphreys McGee put out a new studio album a year ago. They could give a fuck if anyone. They don't care how many of them they sell, and if you listen to Humphreys McGee and you listen to a studio version of a song and then you listen to him play it live, it's two entirely different things. So there's no time wasted on that. It's a starting point. It's kind of an interesting way to do it, whereas other bands are playing those songs on tour because their songs are finished. They play them the way they are, and then that's it. They play the next one. So
it'll be cool to hear them play without a YouTube commercial interrupting it. That's how I get it. It's on, and I'll listen to it on my hike, and then I'll hear the song, and it'll fade out, and then I won't hear anything for a while, and think, oh, that
dude, I'll get you set up,
and then there'll be an ad for some stupid.
I'll get you set up with Nugs. That's what Zach's got an account that So
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
what's Nugs?
Nugs is like the live music app that you have access to all these live shows.
And I'm not on that, but they like, I think the hippie jam business, you know, they found ways to make it work during the pandemic, and they started you know, streaming a lot of live shows. And yeah.
Well, again, that's part of it, because your whole business model is that you want to be good at playing live and build the live show up more and more and more, and get more people to come and see you on multiple nights. They'll watch 5-6 shows in a row because they know it's always going to be different. It's the Grateful Dead model. It's the same.
Yeah.
That's the same thing the Dead did. They could care less if they sell a record. They're about getting a bunch of people to come to the show every time and selling a bunch of tickets, making their money live, and all the songs transform when they play them live into these other things.
Yeah, ideally you get some chicks
yes,
there.
Everyone's on drugs, so everyone has a good time, you know.
Yeah, pass around their vapes and shit.
So I believe it's called nugs.net, right?
There it is.
Yeah.
That's it.
All the latest in hippie jam band.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, I gotta halfway up my hike with one of their tunes, and it'll always, you know, fade out to some you know, insurance or whatever it is. It always startle. I get it's not just my wife, other things startle me. And I get startled by shit like that, but I go up, and most everybody who goes up in that morning to, you know, to go up and see the sunrise and then come back down.
The blowjob crew.
Yeah, we all like to go. The what? The blowjob crew. No, we all like, and maybe some of that, you know, I don't know. I think it's, you know, maybe in the spring or summer there'd probably be a little more action that way for somebody, but I don't think that's what goes on. But we all like going up in the dark alone, you know, if you can get there and there's nobody on the trail in front of you.
Bob's your uncle.
Wait for, you know, I will usually wait till there's another car shows up in the parking lot, and then I hit.
Everyone hides.
Because I'm getting ready to go suck dick up in the woods. You know, you don't know.
Oh, wait. It's just Kevin. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's the red truck guy, because I followed him up this morning. So we got to the intersection.
Wait, now you're following people?
Well, he
just has a wide stance, Chaille.
But I also knew that if he pulls right into his parking spot, I would have no right to be upset about it, that he was in front of me. But it was hazardous winter driving conditions all of a sudden, and I wanted to see how he would do in a Toyota truck with no chains on it, and he spun out a few times, so I called it good. I came back, and then I was going to go up later in the day. It was still snowy up there. And then I thought, no, I'm not obsessed, but I got, 21 straight days, and I called it good on account of weather, and probably won't be up tomorrow because it's going to be snowing all night.
I think that, Andy, that's congratulations, first of all, on 21 straight days. That's impressive. And
that's naked and afraid numbers.
You're doing it. And where that send, all this talk about brains and being alone and thinking, like, this is all the same stuff, in tiny little morsels, getting up there and walking up there and looking at the sun coming up, and, all of that is super healthy. And the fact that you stopped isn't because you just, petered out and you're not going to do it anymore. It's truly because it's fucking cold as fuck. It's miserable. It's dangerous. You don't want to fucking break your ankle because you had to prove to yourself that you were going to do all 28 days, God damn it. And now you're on icy fucking rocks at 6 a.m. It's fucking stupid. Like,
yeah, I don't get a ribbon.
That's just being an adult. So congratulations.
I get no participation trophy or nothing. But what I already got out of it is I don't feel winded when I go get the mail and shit like that.
Well, that's good.
And I feel like, if I continue doing it, which I will once the break and shit. But it's getting earlier and earlier. Like, it was a 7 o'clock sunrise this morning, so it's like you got to be in that parking lot before 6:30 to hit the trail. It takes about a half hour to get up there, and it's 1.8 all uphill climb.
That's a long way.
At about the 3/4 of the way to the top, you get to these granite there'll be like 15 steps and then a trail and then another. So it's like you get there and you got to go up all these fucking steps to get to the top. Every single time I get up there, I'm out of breath. My legs feel like they're shaky or whatever, but it's gotten easier and everything. So it's like, all right, so maybe, I want to be fit enough for the fucking World War III that's coming up. I don't know if they'll want me, as a troop or whatever, but I want to have legs for that.
I think you'll be one of those guys when, the Russians are going house to house. You'll just be like, they'll burst in and you'll just be sitting there, like,
say China now, motherfucker.
And he rolls a grenade.
And then you'll try to shoot them and you realize you've never shot anything before and don't know how the gun works.
Boy, talking about World War III and stuff like that. I don't know if this really segues, but I got to episode 3 of The Last of Us.
Uh-huh.
Woo boy.
Sexy, right?
Well, it's Erickson, have you seen it?
Is this the one where the guy crawls into Nick Offerman's dick and then his dick explodes?
Yeah.
Kind of.
I think I saw that.
This is
Nick Offerman, they all run together.
Very, very
the Parks and Rec guy.
Yeah, Ron Swanson.
Swanson.
Yeah. But as I'm watching it, I mean, I'm all right. It's cool. It's cool. It was a direction they took. I get it, but man,
wait, was it hot?
I wouldn't call it hot, but no? I think Frank thought it was really hot. Frank and Bill, but man, that Ron really fucking acted his balls off.
Yeah.
He went.
He really lost himself in that beard.
I mean, he had to get into the role. I mean, this is a man who builds his own fucking canoes by hand.
He does build his own canoes, and he's good for him.
Shows you what the whole man's man is all about.
Well,
I think maybe it shows you that
a comic's comic.
Wait, are we? Does that mean we're deciding that gays aren't faking it because it takes a tour de force acting job to be gay if you're straight? Or does that mean, hey, look, it's an act, anyone can do it?
Well, let's just say, did Tom Hanks have an active lover in Philadelphia? I mean, he had AIDS. I don't know.
So. He had AIDS.
He had AIDS, but did he act gay a lot in it?
Didn't make out with anybody.
Right. He was more gay in Bosom Buddies. And that was, I guess that's ignorant of me.
What are you, a transphobe? Come on, man.
Oh, man.
They identified as two guys who couldn't find a place to live. The best part about Bosom Buddies is that they had to live in a home for women, apartment for women only, because they couldn't find a place to live. There was just no housing.
Yeah.
And then rather than doing it for like, okay, maybe for a week, we got to do this because we can't find any place to live, but we seriously got to get on this finding a place to live thing because I can't keep dressing up like a woman.
Yeah.
They just decided, no, you know what? It's easier to just
it's working out.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they mean by the situation comedy? Is that, based on a fucking singular situation like that?
Yeah.
That was, what's your story? That's a great easy pitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a good elevator pitch.
An apartment. So they live in a women's apartment and they dress like women and then they become good friends with the women.
They're horny, but they can't have sex with them because the women all think they're women.
Yeah.
Which now probably wouldn't be a deterrent. That would probably be helpful.
It's basically, I think if it wasn't for John Ritter, that they might not have been able to pull off Bosom Buddies, but they're like, well, he's a gay guy. He's not really gay, but he says he's gay so he can live with two women.
Yeah.
San Diego, who the fuck is the land? Like, what kind of fucking discriminatory bullshit apartments do they fucking care who's in what apartment? It's a 3-room apartment. Who do you fucking get to say who's in those rooms?
Yeah, you're right about that. This was the,
bullshit
this is the late
situation.
70s. So
Mhm.
how dare Mr. Roper tell, his leasees that they can't have
I forget why
a
they still
guy
were
living
doing it
there.
with Furley too. Didn't Furley think Jack was gay as well?
He must
Oh
have.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
think
guy-
what happened was Mr. Roper objected to a man living in the apartment with two, like
Right.
all of them being
Yeah.
single,
That's
which
what I'm
is like,
saying.
who the fuck cares? I mean, that's
Right.
that's
What
what you do in
business is it of
college.
yours? Right. Fucking rent the check cash every fucking month.
cuckold, go downstairs, you fucking. You take care of that whore wife of yours.
Yeah.
You-
Oh
you
shit.
Go rent down the street. But I get they had that cool neighbor Larry that I guess they didn't want to leave.
She was so horny too, Mrs. Roper.
Jesus, totally, man.
Man,
I'll bet
yeah.
you there has to be, if in the theory of a multiverse where infinite universes are possible. There's a universe where Three's Company is called Two's Company, and it's about Jack and Mrs. Roper hooking up constantly.
Yeah, and killing,
Yeah.
Because she
killing
was
Mr.
so
Roper.
horny all the
Yeah.
time. And Mr. Roper
First two
was not
seasons was
interested.
them behind everyone's back.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
season,
Just
they killed Mr.
banging
Roper.
it out. Of course.
She's
Because you know
probably
what?
the age.
Because Chrissy is actually unattainable anyway for Jack.
Yeah.
Chrissy is unattainable, and Janet kind of flaky,
Yeah.
kind of weird.
She
Like
wasn't even
probably hooked up.
Marianne level.
Jack probably hooked up with Janet, early on,
Hand job in the parking
twice,
lot.
once or twice when they met. And so they dated lightly, and then it was like, nah, I'm not doing
That'd be
this.
weird. Chrissy wouldn't be able to keep a secret.
Totally.
So maybe Jack was only half acting. Maybe he was bi with Larry and Mrs. Roper, the three of them.
Mrs. Roper would have been the one to hook up with. I think you're onto
Absolutely.
something.
Yeah, with that
She was the coolest one on the show for sure.
Oh, she
Yeah,
could
I
find
think-
weed. Definitely.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
All
man.
neglected older lady.
Yep.
why did
absolutely.
she didn't care about Jack being gay or whether
No,
it's
she
just-
knew. She knew what was up, right?
Yeah,
She knew what was up. She just didn't tell Mr. Roper.
Right.
So what was he,
Yeah.
a Jesus freak? I mean, there's really no.
No, I guess they
there's
just kind of played it off
California
like
law.
this is how shitty it was back then. They played it off like, well, this is just standard landlord,
Yeah.
renter,
The norm.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
boilerplate contract stuff, no hanky panky. So, he didn't
Yeah,
even
but there
have to
could be no
justify it.
hanky panky and they all live in an apartment.
I know, but well, I mean, to prove it, you can't have any,
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't portray him like he was. That would have actually been funnier if it would have been like John Lithgow and he would have been like a super Christian. Like in Footloose,
Preaching to him, yeah, no kidding.
he's just preaching at them all the time, and they're like, ugh.
Maybe situation comedies need to come back with better situations. And John Lithgow.
Right.
John Lithgow and he's probably getting up there in years. So, you know how I think I'm younger than Morgan Freeman was when he filmed Shawshank. I don't know if they made him even look older either. But
Wait, did you just say you're younger?
I'm the same age as Morgan Freeman. Right now, I'm the same age as when Morgan Freeman filmed.
Yeah, well, you
Shawshank.
should.
But in Shawshank, he seemed like he was about 60 something as a kid.
Well, I mean, some of that was makeup, Andy.
Some of that was
Okay.
acting. It was like he was
They
the wise
had to
old.
portray it,
Right.
the passage of time.
Listen, sonny boy. That's part of it too. He called people sonny boy.
Yeah, it's hard not to seem like an old man. We're getting older, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
The people that I work with, some of them call me sir, some of them call me Mr. Erickson, and one guy calls me Mr. Brett. And all of it at first,
what's on
was
your
just
helmet?
like,
Is that Hop Sing? Mr. Brett, Mr. Brett.
Hop sync.
Stop it.
You want
No,
your
it's not
rondery?
Hop Sing. Calm down, Argus Hamilton. No. But at first it was weird to me, you know what I mean? Like I didn't I tried to be like, I don't, don't whatever, but it's just the way it is. That's who I am. I'm a 55-year-old guy at a fucking place working with 22-year-olds. Of course, they call me Sir and Mr. Erickson. You know what I mean? Like, that's who I am to them. It's no point in pretending it's not that way. It's fine.
Pops.
Actually. All right.
Do you hear
I'll
any
be,
pops?
yeah,
Pops.
I'd be fine with pops. Yeah.
Captain.
I guess it's how they say it.
Yeah.
Hey, Pops,
I mean,
keep walking on.
They say it nice to me. I'm sure they say it another way when they're all talking to each other.
Uh-huh.
Fucking pops.
Well, you don't.
Boomer.
Yeah.
You didn't have long hair when you worked there, huh? Or you had
No,
it?
I
at the
cut it
beginning?
before my job interview.
Oh, okay. So they don't know the other.
Sold
Brett.
out, man.
So they do just know Mr.
That's
Brett.
when that happened.
Yeah.
For the interview, not even for the job, for the interview to maybe get the job.
Did you hear that song? Get a haircut and get a real job in your head when you're getting
George
there.
Thorogood's always in my head. That's what's weird. Always.
From the
Like,
day
that's
you
my
were
internal
born.
voice. That's why I want to go
Really?
on alone, because I
Yeah.
know that it would just be me, my Tolstoy, and George Thorogood.
That was the only song they played in my incubator. It's Bad to the Bone. It was in there for a month, and they kept playing it in the loop.
That's how supervillains are born.
He was bad to the bone. He may still be, right?
George Thorogood?
Yeah,
Yeah, check him out on nugs.net.
He's not on nugs.net.
See who's on there.
Man, is there a hippie
Awesome,
tribute Thorogood band?
Just
Thorogood
bluegrass fiddling.
Humphreys does a whole album of George Thorogood mashups where they start with Bad to the Bone, and then they morph into one bourbon, one scotch, and one beer, and then they play them together at the same time. And
That might be. I was trying to think of any kind of music that Miley Cyrus hasn't covered, but maybe Thorogood. That might be the only one.
So, like, in the whole discussion, Miley Cyrus and George Thorogood are on truly opposite ends of the whole spectrum. Like, everything exists between those two.
Yeah.
And cool music's over here.
Well, Miley Cyrus covers everybody, though.
I like Miley Cyrus.
I do. I mean, she's
too.
she's great. I mean, it's like, I bet she's covered. She might, if you Google it, she might have covered Thorogood. I don't know when she does all these shows where she covers everybody, but she covers a lot of.
I don't think there's anything wrong with playing songs that other people wrote and other people did and made famous.
No, she's great at it. She's like the best singer to cover some of them.
Because it's a reinterpretation, There's a good version of, it's With a Little Help from My Friends, I think, by the Beatles, of the Flaming Lips and Miley Cyrus duet.
I liked her when she was Hannah Montana.
Somebody's gonna clip that
Easy
together
there,
with
Andy.
your
Look, this show could go a whole
I'm
different
sorry, I
way.
was channeling Jeff Ross.
Yeah, exactly. Take it easy there, Hannah. I'm sorry, Chad. What did you say?
Oh no, I was just saying someone's gonna clip that with his comment earlier with his going to the under 18 part of the concert.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
This is gonna be a
Come
horrible
on, dude.
podcast.
Erickson, are you mistaken? Was it Miley Cyrus and the Flaming Lips doing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds?
Oh, it was Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Yeah.
Come on.
So
man.
Flaming Lips did an album. They covered that whole album, and they did a duet with a different person on each song. It's really good though.
Here, I'll play a little bit of it. Hold on a second. I got to get the thing.
This
going
can only
here.
be
Hold
on Patreon. We can't play this on YouTube.
I'll make the screen blank or whatever I have to do for that. Yeah, it's really
Sign up for our
fucked up.
Patreon, everybody, and you can
man.
hang out with us while we listen to
We
records.
treat squirrels better than they do on that alone.
They did a whole album of that. They did
With Miley?
album. No, they covered the whole album. They used a different They did a duet with a different person on each song.
Oh, yeah.
So the version that I've heard was not that live version of them doing it right
Yeah,
there.
that was a Billboard Music Awards.
Yeah.
She's
But, I
heavy
like
on my Instagram. For
I think
guess
she'd be fun to hang out with.
yeah, she'd be funner to hang
Parties?
out with than Britney Spears lately.
Don't pile on Britney, bro. Come
What's
on.
wrong with Britney?
Are you saying
She just-
leave Britney alone?
Yes, I am in the leave Britney alone camp.
I just she
Let
seems
this girl
to, you know,
live.
oh, I want to, but I see her Instagram and I worry. I worry about her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Madonna, look at Madonna. She's not much of a role model with her face all bloated out and shit. She puts out weirdo videos on. I don't know. I don't necessarily follow either of them, but I've seen video of both of them recently. And Madonna was like, her face looked a little better, and she was like, "See, I look a lot better now," or whatever. Like she's trying to do. Everybody's trying to catch Martha Stewart's thirst traps.
Yeah.
And they're not doing it. Britney's just comes across as like a Russian bride kind of a fucking vibe. I don't know. You seem a little crazy. I don't want to
That's
get
kind of hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she seems kind of like fucking like something's going, like she's a
Sometimes it
little
ruins
fucking,
people to be famous like that, though, right? Like Britney, I mean,
Oh yeah.
and people will be like, "Oh, she didn't have to be famous; she didn't want to." Yeah, people don't know how they're going to react to like being
Yeah, I think
really
Madonna-
like amazingly famous.
When she was
So,
a kid. When that
Yeah,
happened.
she thought she wanted that, and then when it happened, she was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is going on?" And
Well,
then,
she's also being run by her parents or her dad.
and it
so
all
there
went
was-
si-
there
it
was
all went
pressure there,
sideways in
too.
1,000 ways, right? It's
Yeah.
not
I remember
not
this
allowed to
little
be hot messes.
snippet I heard, like she was doing a concert in Hawaii. This Britney Spears is like when she's fairly like, I don't know, 20s, early 20s. She's doing a concert and she wanted coffee from a place back somewhere. She had them fly a plane to go get her fucking coffee.
Awesome.
Something like shit like that. And I was like, she's like, that's insane,
But
right?
that's just cool.
but
Wait,
people
no,
would-
that's
yeah.
cool.
If you
She
could
had
do
more
that-
money than anyone her age.
or that probably didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. That's probably true
Damn it, the
too.
reality bomb. Also, probably
Yeah.
not true.
Yeah, they probably just went around the corner, got it at a thing and said, here.
Yeah.
And then dissuaded, and then
Yeah.
microwaved it and said, "Here it
Yeah.
is."
Yeah, I flew to Alaska for this.
Yeah, I mean, she
She
was like
was special.
famous, wasn't she? Like one of the early out of the gate famous, like at 18, right? 19.
Yeah,
something
she
like
was
that.
really
So
young when
yeah,
she-
and then her dad's obviously proved to be kind of a bit of a control freak and a weirdo.
Well, anybody who puts their kid out there when they're young and pushes them to be a star is a weirdo. So like it worked with Britney. She became a
Well-
star. She was a talented kid and she worked hard and she got better and she became a star. But that doesn't make her parents not crazy people just
Yeah,
for
I
doing
mean,
it
they're
to their kid. Like Andy, from having a child and Chad, like
well,
Delaney,
I got put on a
Delaney
plane.
did ice skating. Like if she would have been really good at ice skating, you'd have let her go farther in it, but yet you would have not like pushed her hard to do
I
it.
used to hit her
That's
with
the
the skate guards when she wouldn't land jumps. I'd get off the ice and then she'd know if she didn't hit it, then I'd whack. Actually, that's what happened to Tonya Harding, but
Yeah.
I
her across
didn't
the
care
thigh
so
with her-
much. I
Yeah,
just
but
felt
that-
bad for her on her thing, but I never like go, God damn it, man, get yourself together.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple
Britney Spears
times.
is like Tonya Harding, only a little better looking, and she could
Mhm.
land her jumps.
Yeah, if she could have landed her jumps like Tonya, I'd have been a happy dad, though. I mean, it's just,
Oh, Delaney?
you'd be proud, but it would have been just like,
So-
holy shit, what a freak.
It would have been great if you would have had like really pushed Tanya as a role model to Delaney.
They did. We're on
get a
the ice
poster of
together
Tonya
one
Harding
time.
up on up above her bed, like every night she looks at
I
it.
don't know when Tonya Harding took a lesson from her coach, who was also my daughter's coach years later. But they were my daughter was on the ice with Tonya, and Dodie, the coach, was in a wheelchair. So I got to see Tonya Harding pushing her coach, who was Delaney's coach, in a wheelchair. And then Delaney and her were on the rink together skating. And I didn't take it. Must have been, I just didn't have a camera. So I didn't take a, phones weren't cameras then.
Right.
I didn't have a camera, so I did not document the moment, but it was like, wow, look at Delaney's out there with the fucking, Tonya was an interesting cat because she was freakishly athletic.
But this was before it all happened with the Olympics and all.
No, this was all after. This was years later.
After.
Tonya was taking a lesson to get ready for like, some news magazine wanted to do a piece on her, so she just wanted to take a lesson to, it was like many years after after the band show years. So
after that even.
Yeah, it was after she met Doug Stanhope in the ring.
Did she recognize you when she saw you?
Her coach told, we talked for a minute, We're basically, she was like, an athletic version of me. White trash, prone to throwing shit.
Yeah.
Being
I think that means that Chaille and I are like Galooly, and Chad is like the other. What's the other guy's name? The henchman that they had.
Shane Stant was the club guy, and then Sean Eckhart was the fat
Sean Eckhart,
who I love. Who's that's a role.
I didn't mean fat blowhard in a negative way, Chad. I just mean that we're all.
Me, though.
Yeah, and Chaille and I together make up one Galooly.
Oh man, yeah. There's Joe Rogan in the ring. Doug Stanhope. Tonya was like, she was built in a way that people. I was like running like let's bet on it, But I knew the fix was in probably, but I got people to wager on it, and I think I did end up taking all that money inadvertently to.
She didn't want. Something was going on. Like did Doug want there to be a fix? But
Tonya didn't want to really mix it up.
Yeah.
And my whole game plan when I pitched this idea and my whole fantasy was that Doug would take a beating. 'Cause I thought she would just be better than she was too. I don't think she was very good at boxing.
That's a good picture.
She boxed elsewhere.
She boxed a couple of. She beat up Paula.
Celebrity boxing.
Because she's in the montage in like the beginning of Idiocracy.
Right. So
showing like how stupid America
is. It
has
is it
become
on the Man Show?
Tonya Harding boxing. I always
hope
that I always wish that they had used her boxing on the Man Show,
right,
to show how stupid America had become.
If the idea Andy Andrist had became one of the 5 things that Mike Judge used to be like, this was what all happened.
The epitome of stupidity.
We became this stupid.
It makes sense.
That tracks.
Yeah,
Oh
once I got my traction there, I was able to pitch.
It is a shame though that you can't pitch that idea, that she can't be good enough to actually do what you want. Like, look, just beat the shit out of Doug. Doug will take a beating. He understands.
Right, he doesn't.
He didn't want it.
Start out, make it look like
she
a
held
real
up production.
Fight. Yeah,
because
make
she
it look
did
like a
not
real
want
fight for a minute. Sorry, Chaille.
That's right.
Few punches in. Stanhope gets a few punches in. People start to think, "Oh my God, is he actually going to beat her ass?" And then all of a sudden, like maybe he punches her a good one, sort of fakey, but like gets her a little bit, and then she gets all fucking mad and then just beats the shit out of him, and he ends up in the fetal position on the ground and cut to commercial. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Then you come back and have the talk of it. Like, that's brilliant.
It wasn't that scripted, but Tonya didn't want to. Doug, she didn't want any part of really mixing it up.
In her dressing room, and Renee, Doug's wife at the time, had to go in and talk her out of it. To come out.
She didn't even want to come out.
No, she held up production.
She was nervous. So my whole plan would have,
Andy was
I wanted her to get
the architect. So you can understand why she might have been a little
I
nervous.
saw her more of a TV, as a villain, as a less of as of a victim. But after I got to see her and how she was, I saw her as she was being victimized, and I also felt like the relationship she had with this boxing manager, who was also the referee in the fight.
Oh yeah,
Kind of like whore pimp.
Yeah, well, that's
Like she was
unfortunate.
there fighting and she didn't really want to be, and the pimp was like, assuring her, or the
heyday.
manager was assuring her it was okay.
You just wanted to have a real fair and square guy-girl
TV
fight. You're
Well-
not trying to do anything exploitive at
Above
all.
board.
You just want to have a girl fight a guy and just let it be not
Well, I
trying
wanted her to
to
beat up Stanhope until the end,
absolutely.
and then have him knock her out. Not knock her
Wait,
out,
no,
knock her
is
down.
he-
And that would have been bad.
that's-
Nobody wanted that.
No, that's not how it works.
But basically, I had a good idea, but I wasn't, final say in it, which I wasn't even
Simmons was
hired,
like, no,
hired
Andy,
at the time.
we're not doing that. We're not
But
gonna
look at Paula Jones
punch a
there.
woman and knock her out at the end of the man show.
Paula Jones really thought she, was going to go there and fight Tonya Harding and be, it was like, what, the only thing that Paula Jones did was that I know about, went up to Bill Clinton's hotel room and he pulled his dick out and she took off and then told people about it. That's not really boxing skills. Like Tonya, she was a scrapper. She was used to pain and training and all that shit. So her boxing made a little sense. But Paula Jones was like, she didn't even say, like she could have tweaked his dick or something. All she did was like, I'm not into this, and left.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
who's
it's not much
next? Who's
training.
next? Shit, you got at 1 o'clock. Fuck her.
That's basically just a Louis C.K. anyway, right?
I know, man. Yeah. Clinton should do a fucking stand-up tour where he
You
talks
should
about,
open for Louis.
yeah, start out. Yeah, fuck yeah. Oh, trousers open tour.
The trouser snakes.
Just pull your dick out, give it a yank or two. No, don't cancel me. Shit. Society changed. I haven't.
You imagine going to a Louis C.K. show and fucking Bill Clinton's playing the saxophone to
Oh
fucking
my
open
God.
it up.
Somebody tweeted something funny about Jimmy Carter being in hospice, saying that, oh, you guys realize that the guy who played saxophone on Arsenio is about to be the oldest living president?
Wow. Well,
Oh, wow, we are old.
you know how many times Jimmy Carter was on Epstein Island?
Well, he was once, but he was actually building a house for his children.
For employees.
He found out about it. He knew there was nothing he could do about it. The powers were too strong. The Illuminati ran everything. So, but he did negotiate that he would build them some nice huts.
Hey man,
They
all
could live
kids
in.
need housing,
Especially then.
You just see Jimmy Carter like you're like a kid just getting raped by all these fucking Prince Andrew and everybody, and then you're like, and then you just see Jimmy Carter with like a nail in his mouth and his bib overalls on.
Carter's still hanging in, right?
He's still alive.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it might not be immediately. He just, he is like, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah, I don't have a Belzer story, but I have a Belzer adjacent story. And
Richard Belzer also died this week.
Yeah, Richard Belzer passed on.
Andy, before you do your story, did you guys see the clip of the green room where he did the Jagger off?
Oh man, yeah, that was hilarious.
That was so good. I'll put a link in the show notes for it. It was so good.
It's from the
Stanhope suggested it because Rick Overton was in the audience while they were doing filming or taping the green room, Paul Provenza.
Mhm.
And I guess Rick Overton is famous for doing a Mick Jagger impersonation, and it came up and Doug suggested that they do a Jagger off, and it was fucking good. I mean, Bells was, he must have been 70 during that.
And he was doing a Mick Jagger impression.
He did a good one.
Yeah. Belzer does a.
You just got to do the
chicken dance.
He added, dude. It wasn't just that, because that's all Rick Overton had to do. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
you gotta see it. I'll put the
Yeah.
link in the show.
Yeah. Belzer has the advantage of the body.
Yes.
Right.
Heavier Mick Jagger. So, but part of Mick Jagger's moves are just being.
Yeah. Well, you do the chicken thing and then you do the point and then you like take off running, you know? It's like a whole thing. Belzer was great. He was really, really good. Before he was on Law and Order SVU, he was on Homicide: Life on the Street, which is one of the greatest TV shows of all time.
Didn't he play the same character?
Yes.
So he just got transferred to a different
He
division.
got transferred from
Wow.
Baltimore to
Is that ever? That's like
those cinematic universes connected that way. And the guy who created Homicide: Life on the Street, I'm pretty sure, is the same guy who did The Wire. So it's like the Baltimore guy. And Homicide: Life on the Street, if you guys have never seen that show, it's weird because it's hard to find that show. Nobody plays it any. Yeah, you don't see it.
didn't get it archived as some.
It was really fucking good, man. It was like gritty and real in a, you know.
What's it called? Homicide: Life on the Street.
Homicide: Life on the Street, and it was the guy from the black guy who's the sergeant in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah,
like Andre Brower. He was the main guy. He was the main cop. He was like a fiery cop, and he was really incredible. Belzer was on it. There's like, you know, a whole crew.
Oh,
and then,
the guy from Heat of the Night.
The lieutenant that was their boss was Yaphet Kotto.
Yeah, from Heat of the Night with
Right.
Chaille Connor.
It was an intense show, and it was very Baltimore-y and very like the lighting was always like, it was never warm lighting, you know, it was always, it looked cold. Yeah, there
You know who his cousin is?
A great show, man.
Belzer's cousin, Henry Winkler.
Oh,
What?
really?
Yeah, they were cousins. In fact, Belzer was in like that. What was that? Night
Shift.
with Night Shift.
Night
He was in
Shift.
Night Shift with Fonzie,
Michael Keaton.
Henry Winkler.
Yeah,
Belzer.
Michael Keaton was in that.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah, I
great-
want to revisit that one.
So, dudes, check out
You-
Homicide: Life on the Street. That's my recommendation. I just realized it.
And did you hear what his last words were?
Belzer's last words. Yes, I did hear it. I'll let you tell him, Andy.
Which was-
Chaille,
well,
have you
what-
heard this?
No,
Who
We
was
had-
it that said it? Do you remember, Andy? Somebody posted that they were with us.
Bill Shift, who's wrote a book about late night TV. You know, I don't know,
Uh-huh.
maybe he was just friends with Richard and was there when he passed, but he was the one who passed that information on. His last words
Uh-huh.
were, "Fuck you, motherfucker." Is that the exact quote? It's
Yeah,
fuck
this is
you,
that's it.
motherfucker. So, and I heard Howard Stern talking about it, and he said he was just, you know, I doubt he was saying that to Bill Shift. He was
Right.
saying it to be funny on his way out, which is
Yeah. Have something funny to go out
yeah.
with.
I mean, can
Yeah.
you time it like that?
That's
It'd
the
be a
problem,
shame
right?
if you said
You-
that and
You
then
don't know,
and
maybe
then
that's
you
your
talk
last
to remote.
gurgle, but you're having a pain or whatever, and you just write it out with
Comedy is timing, and Belzer was
Yeah,
good at it. So
he was
maybe he
good.
knew he was going
He
out,
knew.
and then also maybe he said it like he tried to time it as good as he could, and then like, all right, like now you gotta like fake sleep for a while.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like
Right.
I'm truly
Hold your
dead.
breath.
And you're like, oh man, I hope I'm dead.
come on, you cunt, and then it's like, oh, you know.
Turns
and then
out
you-
those are your last words.
And then you
They
actually
just-
no,
They
even
don't-
worse
They
is
don't say that every 45 seconds he just muttered some obscenity.
Again, yeah.
right,
That is-
yeah. Right. What did he say right before that? Shit,
Yeah.
cunt face.
Yeah.
Followed
You're
by-
right, Chad. He's a pro. He probably had like 10 things to say, and then he just
Wow.
said them spaced out by 5 minutes each. You know, like, all right, any of these are good.
It's also convenient to have a noted author there to directly quote.
Yeah,
it.
that-
You know, he
well,
can clean
that's
it
it.
up if he
It
said,
seems a little too convenient.
yeah. Well, you know, but it's a
Either
nice
me
thought.
or these drapes, go.
But who's he got to impress it then? You know, he's dying. He's dead. having health problems and he's dead, so he's not trying to get work. So
Well, he just knows that
motherfucker
he knows that the writer will punch it up. Like if you know,
Sure.
if he stumbles on it a little bit, gets a little lost, you know.
Yeah, he could have said,
Well, if you're friends with the writer, you can prearrange your last words if
Right.
you want.
absolutely.
Right.
I mean, hey, buddy.
definitely a
Yeah,
unique
just
looking-
grounding us once again.
Total reality bomb again.
Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
Ruined it.
Bring it, man. We need it. I don't know which reality you guys are streaming, but I have stopped paying attention to the news for the most part. Especially the Twitter feed is all just wrought with fucking hurdles and shit. So I really don't put much energy into that shit either.
It's kind of hard to stay on it. It defaults, Twitter now defaults to a different setting than it used to. Instead of getting the tweets of the people you follow, you get tweets that the algorithm thinks you'd like.
Yeah.
And you can switch to the other one if you want.
But it'll switch back.
Sometimes you forget, and by the time you remember that you're not on the one you're used to, you're already angry. Because it was funny because, and this is not meant as a defense of Elon Musk. I don't give a fuck, honestly. Truly, I
Hey,
don't.
wait, man. Christmas bonuses are still.
Yeah,
All of
on that
the
right now.
people, all of the people that I follow on Twitter, not all of them, a lot of the people, a lot of the left was complaining that, you know, this new algorithm, they're just exposed to all of, you know, you're getting Tim Pool and, you know, all these right-wing idiots.
And Coulter.
Ben Shapiro. Yeah, like based on how stupid you are. That's how the algorithm works, you know. And so anything you see just makes you mad because you think, oh God, this is what they think I would, you know, I need to see. But Elon explained it about how he thinks it should be a whole, like, oh, you should listen to the other side. That gets you out of your bubble, because it's not like skewing right wing or skewing left wing. Both sides are complaining about their tweets not getting enough getting enough responses, and them being exposed to a bunch of bullshit that they hate because they're trying to throw this, you know, a bunch of crap at the user. But it's just like, all right, if you're on the left, you have to listen to, you're going to get an algorithm that'll feed you these tweets from famous right-wing Twitter users. And if you're on the right, you'll get the ones that we watch or, you know, see all the time. And neither group likes it. I mean,
that seems fair.
Well, it's not, I'm not saying it's fair, whatever it is, it's just, that's what he's decided to do. It's not like, it's not like, oh, he's trying to make it more right wing or he's trying to make it more left wing. He's just trying to be like, all right, I'll just make you look at these, and this group, you look at these.
Disarray.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't care. He's, you know, it's a toy for him.
Yeah. So it's so I'm just I'm in a bit, you know, I'm still on it and everything, but I just don't spend nearly as much energy on that shit. And just I wish the hike I would, you know, now that I'm building up, I can go on longer ones or whatever. But I like, you know, doing that all the time. But anyway, it's just I just I tend to ignore the news time. I'll put on any, you know, like I'll binge watch something on a streaming service or something rather than watch anything news related until there's some major hammers falling or bombs flying. I just don't fucking care anymore. It's like a edgelord, you know. It's like, all right, are we really, is this the end of it here, or is it going to sink any lower? And it's just like, it's just sort of, it's like, okay, well, this guy's going to get busted for this shit, and it never really quite happened. So like, until there's some fucking change in the way they present their fucking shit, I'm just not getting drawn into the drama.
I know what you're talking about, Andy. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's.
Can I tell them? Can I tell them what you're talking about?
Sure.
Please, somebody.
Matt Gaetz did not get charged with trafficking minors, which he had been under a grand jury indictment for because of all of his, you know, wild sex parties with teens and
trading money back, Venmos,
and like he's paying, you know, 18-year-old girls to hang out with him for the night. And, you know, there was a lot of people thought it was a lot of credible evidence that this douchebag was going to be charged with being the creep that he is. And then the Department of Justice decided not to charge him with anything. So it became one of those things of, oh, here's another example of a year's worth of, hey, this asshole is about to finally get his. And then no,
he's gonna get
nothing's
popped.
going to happen to him. What's the point? So what's the fucking point?
He
These
also has a
people are
pretty
shitty
rich
people.
family, right?
Of course. I'm sure that's why he's even in the
Who is
position
this?
he's in. Matt
Exactly.
Gates, the guy's name is Matt Gates. He's like a big Trump.
He's
Trumpy
a big
Florida
forehead guy.
Florida.
He's got a giant forehead, and he's like a really loudmouthy, like he's like the male version of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like before her was him.
I think
She-
I know.
she
Who you're
took
talking- I think I
his-
know who you're talking about.
She took his fucking, shine.
I know who you're talking about now.
But it's
So
just
that's
like
what you're talking about, isn't it, Andy? That's
yeah,
the
well,
fucking
that
thing
was definitely one of them, and it's just like all this shit, billions of dollars from the South. It's like, everybody's guilty of something in the last administration, and maybe if they are in this one, then those fuckers should be. But nothing ever comes of any of it.
No.
It's like pro wrestling. You get excited that okay, well now this is going to happen, and then they just get disqualified and continue in the next town. So it's just getting too fucking stupid. The side who always wants war is now accusing the other side of trying to start World War III, and it's just like fuck off.
I'm pretty sure, Andy, all due respect, I'm pretty sure that this is exactly what Chad Shank said politics was. It was like wrestling, and it's all bullshit. None of it matters. And they just flip sides, and the whole thing's a big show. And you guys are idiots for giving a fuck about any of it. I think
Chad's
we
wearing
went back
me
and
down.
checked. I think that was actually the metaphor that was used at one point.
Chad's the cult leader.
pretty
I'm
sure.
the lieutenant now. Let's build a small
Google
compound.
gobble, Google gobble.
You build the structure. I'll kill a rabbit or two.
Hey, Brett, we didn't even talk about
Almost
our,
alone, we can call it.
our trip the other day to
Oh shit.
Torment.
Look at this. So when the Chailles were here, Chaille took us to the haunted house here in Austin.
Oh man.
And
Dude, look how big this place is. It's huge. It's like as big as like a Sears.
it's an
inside.
empty strip mall.
Yeah.
It's America
Yeah.
haunting.
You
It
don't
was-
even have to dress them
It
all.
was
up.
it was an
Scary.
impressive place. And I wasn't scared at all, but everyone else was really scared while they went through it.
Wait, what, did that say you'll shit the bed? What did that say? It was cut off.
Did you get startled?
One honk.
No, no, it's like you should see it before it.
Oh, okay.
You should shit the bed.
Or man.
You actually got to pay extra for that, Chad.
Uh,
I mean, these guys got to make money. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a blast. Like truly going through a place like that is so scary, and you're freaking out the whole time, and you're laughing so hard and crying, and you don't know what's happening. And when you come out of there, your stomach hurts,
Mitchell is in knots. It was
face
so-
hurts, and you don't know. Like it was fun.
check this out. We've got these VIP passes, but we also got these glow sticks around our necks. And when you get to a certain part in the maze, they push you through one door if you've got the glow stick on, and there's a bar in there, and you do a shot.
oh shit.
Through a
wow.
coffin.
But even in here, Mitchell is frightened of what they're all guests. There's nothing scary in there, and she was freaked out on
She's
that.
like, she was on. Yeah, her nerves were shattered by that.
Huh.
point.
Could you
Like,
just hang
it
out at the
doesn't-
bar for a little while?
And she likes Dateline and
If you
shit.
wanted to, but I mean,
It
Just did a
doesn't like.
quick
Here's
shot.
the thing about those kind of places, Chaille, and this is what made it fun. And this was even like it wasn't even all the way set up. They did like a thing for Valentine's Day, and it just happened to be when Chaille was here, so we got to go. So it was like they cranked it up to probably 50, 60, 70% somewhere in there. But like you're going through this maze, and all of a sudden, like you see a shadowy figure in front of you. You know he's gonna fucking scare you when you get up there. You already know it. But the fact that you know it doesn't make it less scary. You just know it's coming now, which builds it even more.
Yeah.
And then when you see him, like at one point, like we went into one and like, oh, there's the guy, and like you just see like at first you were looking for him, you couldn't see him, and then all of a sudden you realize he's in the corner and he's crouched down in the corner like a fucking weirdo. And then as soon as you look at him, he charges at you as fast as he can.
That was this guy right here. Scared the shit out of you. Yeah.
Yeah, like how is that not going to scare you? Like even if you know you're in a haunted house and they're not going to fuck with you, that's still like you're just that is how you should respond to that. And then there was a guy with a chainsaw that would come out of nowhere, fucking and run at you with his chainsaw and fucking scurry past like a little maniac. And like, yeah, you get a little frazzled after that, you know. It was fun.
Yeah, it's good.
Is that in Austin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're supplied by Ghost Ride.
Yeah, this is one of the Ghost Ride props right here.
Awesome.
Wow.
There's another one too at the Bretschels. I don't know where I put it, but well, that place was awesome. They do a lot of the haunts. They do these things where they open up for a weekend for like Valentine's Day. They do Krampus. They change over to Krampus in Christmas, and then in May they're going to be doing another. I think I'll be out there. No, I won't be out there, right? But in May they do halfway to Halloween, and they'll open for an entire week. So
I will say this, and this is not meant as a slight on House of Torment, but the Butcher of Black Knob was every bit as scary, if not scarier, than what we went through. What we went through was impressive, but pound for pound, the Butcher of Black Knob, the year I was there, was frightening. Like it was set up. There was some crazy shit there. That laser swamp was wild as fuck. And like the whole thing, and then Dad coming out of a thing was at you. Like this is what I'm talking about. Like some guy comes at you with a fucking knife, or like he's just running at you and fucking like that's gonna evoke a response.
And he did have every like good scare from like set up small thing
right
on Black
right. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's too bad
they didn't have a lot of square footage, so
it's never going to happen again. You get a full candy bar too, and
those days are gone. It's changed world, man.
Pre-pandemic, bro.
World has moved on.
So, Chaille, is House of Torment? Is that your recommendation?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, actually no, because I want to talk about it because I pulled a bunch of pictures and I didn't want to waste. Pulling the pictures. But the thing I've been watching, I just started watching. I'm on I just started yesterday of Succession. I'm already on season 1, episode 8.
Fuck off!
It is fucking great.
It's so good, right?
And the other thing, where's the other thing? Fuck, I thought I had a picture.
Chad, have you seen Succession?
I have not.
The Last of Us. I'm totally into that now too.
Yeah.
So,
I'm all caught up on Last of Us for sure.
What's that?
I'm all caught up on Last of Us.
Yeah, I'm still 2 away from that one.
I just don't know. I'm so uninterested. I watched the first 2. I know 3 is the one. I get it. I understand that. I just
I don't
care about the zombie. I don't care about that post-apocalyptic zombie parasite thing. Like it's hard. It's
just too much of a it's on a video game.
I don't care about that. I don't know anything about
I don't even understand how
they can follow the video game
work.
exactly, and it wouldn't spoiler alert anything for me.
Is it? I mean, I guess video games like that are a storyboard or whatever.
But
you're walking through an environment and you'll run into a situation to where you'll find food, or you'll find raiders, or you'll find some of the creatures. I mean, I think
they do some of the same backgrounds and stuff too, right? Yeah, like they try to recreate shots from the game.
I've only seen the video game once when I was playing on the PlayStation, and I just didn't have much patience for it. So, but I recognized it when I saw the graphics come up. I'm like, oh, this is like that video game, and clearly it is. And especially in the beginning, that first episode where the girl gets shot and everything. Yeah, that is definitely part that's straight from the game.
I think I'm more interested in the story from the parasite's perspective. Like I'd like to see the parasite society coming up, starting to take over, the earth becomes theirs to kind of rule, and then
treat it like a job.
Right. Now you're like, I'm in charge of this fucking dumb guy. That's the body I got to be the parasite of, and now I got to take him around. And they all have jobs and everything in the parasite world. I think that would interest me more. Maybe a situation comedy.
That's the show
Man,
you're
yeah.
watching every day, bro.
And then the parasite pretends to be gay so that
He's
it can
got
live
to.
with 2 chicks.
He's got to, man. Thank you, Chad. I'll fucking rewatch this part just so I think about that again. You've been prescient. Prescient? What's the word? All right. Who's left? I've given mine, Andy.
Well, I don't even know the title of it. It's a thing of Warren Zevon on his end days.
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
But I was listening to that while hiking up the
What was
mountain
that?
the other day, and it was a really well done. His kid produced it. I know Billy Bob Thornton was part of the narration of it, but it tells the story of his, struggle with whatever he instead of getting cancer treatment, he recorded an album and postponed treatment. But it also filled in a lot of those, early days.
Is it Keep Me in Your Heart?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
And Jordan Zevon is Warren Zevon's son. He reached out to Doug because he's a fan of the podcast, and he sent out a little practice amp that Warren Zevon used when he was just coming up. It was it looked like something you'd buy at Sears, and Doug's like, oh, that's cool, and he but didn't want it, so I got it repaired, and I actually have Warren Zevon's amp in my
Jesus Christ, Chaille,
Yeah.
that's
super
incredible.
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. I
And
took it to a guy. I took it to a guy to repair. It's this weird guy in Tucson because there's nobody who repairs shit in at the music stores and stuff. And I took it there, and I didn't want to tell him whose it was beforehand because I didn't know. And then I went to pick it up, and he goes, "Yeah, it's like $100." And I go, "Yeah, this is really important because I got this from a guy whose dad was Warren Zevon." He's like, "Huh." So $100. He didn't give a fucking flying shit about any of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that guy at the party, Zevon. Who's that? Remember that,
Yeah,
Dick?
totally.
Yeah.
Parties ago. But it's also, it was like really cool with the I don't know. I was listening to it while walking as opposed to watching it. But he allowed a lot of access to his dying days and going to the doctor and stuff and his thoughts on it. And he was always obsessed with death. I mean, it's like a big part of a lot of his music is about death. So, so it's like, interesting stories and anecdotes from the man himself and that last Letterman appearance that he was on.
Oh, yeah. Enjoy every sandwich.
Yeah. Enjoy every sandwich. And, that he did that whole show, he flew out and as he was in shitty health for sure on his way out and went out and did Letterman. And
Nice.
but
What's it
yeah,
called?
he was an interesting character for sure.
Keep Me in Your Heart.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's it.
Dude,
Thanks,
follow
Ggreg.
that, Chad.
Yeah, right. Mine's a two-parter. I got a audio book that I started and almost sent back early. Decided to stick it out and then ended up woke up in the middle of the night, listened to the whole thing through. It's called Perfume.
Oh, yeah. Kurt Cobain's favorite book.
It blew me away. I have to get the hard book and read it. The audio book, Hennigan responded to my tweet when I tweeted about it and said it was his favorite book to recommend, and I responded and said it was like being carried on a river of words.
Whoa.
It was the most descriptive book I've ever listened to, and I just was carried along by it, and I couldn't help but listen to it, and I can't wait to read it. The other day, I found out there's a movie. I rented it. I couldn't find it streaming anywhere, but I rented it. It was $2.99. I rented it, watched it, loved it. It was a great movie. It changed quite a bit of it for the movie adaptation, but of course they do. But I was really blown away by this story, and I was surprised because it wasn't really something I thought I would be. But
Holy shit.
I don't remember the name of the author now, but let me see.
Jean-Claude Elena.
I was hoping you would say Van Damme.
Thank you,
Chaille. It was the most amazing piece of art I've ever seen. It was by a Jean-Claude Van Damme. Chad, I didn't think you could follow Andy's, but then you fucking knocked it out of the park. God damn it. Well done. Huh.
So,
Yeah, that movie, I remember watching that movie going, motherfucker, this is good. And then that's when Tracy, because she's way smarter than me, is like, oh, that's a really good book. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna read it.
The movie does not touch the book at all, but the movie's okay. You know, it's like 2.5 hours long.
And it's interesting, Chad, that like you're exposed to it by listening to the audio book, so you get it. So now you can go back and like, you know, you can read it at your own pace and kind of like take your time with it. And like,
yes,
you know, it's like, you know, it's like enjoying a meal. You know, you're like, all right, now let me just read this, and I'm gonna read it again. Like, look at that's fucking amazing.
It's funny. It's like because as one part of the book, he consumes a scent too quickly and has to go later and learn how to preserve the scent as part of the longer thing. So that's
the
what
title sounds like a Nirvana song almost, the Alchemy of Scent.
So it's a baby born. He has a amazing sense of scent, power of scent. It's really the only way he relates to the world. He doesn't relate to the world in any other way other than the scent.
Right.
And can distinguish like the scent of the sea. He can smell the sea, but he can also smell seaweed and salt and minerals and different elements, or all of it together and stuff. And goes on to
oh, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
I couldn't wait. I'm sorry, I couldn't wait. I want to propose a different title for this book. The Power of Dog.
Yeah.
Now you're making me think if there was a fucking dog in this.
I was gonna say, taking a leap there, Erickson.
Because what you just said, Chad, this is like, I take my dog for a walk and I'm always like super high when I do it. And that's like my time after work to just like have a drink and be high and walk the dog. And my last dog didn't. I mean, it had a dog's sense of smell, which is always, 150 times better than ours or whatever it is, 1,000 times, whatever. But this new dog has even way better sense of smell than that. And she's like a little bloodhound, And I'm just fascinated by the way she moves about the world using her nose as like her primary organ of what's out there, and that's what it reminded me of when you were
that would be it.
Maybe you should write a book from her perspective.
Well, what I was thinking about was, I mean, it'll probably be something as funny as the Banshees of Inisherin, but I was
Cocaine dog.
Like like my dog now, like when she does it when she pees too, but it was always when she poops. She does the leg kicking thing where she tries to like kick her poop. Like we had to look into it. Some people think it's to cover it up because whatever, but that's like a cat thing. For dogs, it's like they're trying to spread it around. They're trying to say, look, man, my scent's everywhere. She's a girl. She's trying to put it out there that she's in the neighborhood, boys, like just like an old evolutionary
Tell her
trait,
I'll be there
right?
eventually.
So like her sense of smell is so advanced, and every time she takes a shit, she tries to fucking kick it all over the neighborhood. Then after she's done doing that, I pick it up in a bag, tie it up, and
put it in
her
one.
And I walk away with it. And I just always wonder if her first thought isn't, what the fuck, bro?
I did all that work.
What are you doing? You're ruining.
You're working against me here.
What are you
Cock blocking son of a bitch?
Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you. And then you're just gonna carry it all the way home? It's like fucking mean.
You are a dedicated cock blocker.
Yeah. I feel bad about it.
That's fucking great.
All right, I feel
Yeah,
like
what was the other one?
Oh no, that was just two-part because of
No,
the book and the movie.
Oh, okay, all right.
All of us.
I would like to say this. I think this was a good episode, but I also would like to say these are definitely the best 4 recommendations we've ever had.
Put some
I think that you could go with any of the 4 and you would be
Yeah.
happy with the product you were given. And I know that we said we doesn't have to be recommendations, but it's nice sometimes when it is something that we like and think is good. So I'm excited because yeah, I'm gonna check
That
all
one
this.
might not be the one that Chaille. This one that I was talking about is something of a murderer.
It's the same one.
Is it?
Yeah.
The Alchemy of
Involved
Ascent?
in murder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go, everybody.
Right.
And if you know what, we're glad you're out there. We're gonna come back and do this again in another week. We would like you to be on our Patreon, join us there. If you do, you'll get to see, probably, I'm guessing, the first 10 minutes of this podcast.
Oh, on the phone.
Leave that out, shit. We don't want to have any.
We don't want to tip it.
Yeah, talking about spoiler alerts. So yeah. So anyway, we would love to have you on our Patreon. It's us doing the same thing, but just a little more of it. And you know, we know that this whole thing is just for a niche sort of group of people who enjoy Black Shadow and that sort of comedy. And we appreciate you being out there. And if you join our Patreon, it's like $5 a month. And you know, we do fun stuff with you. So that's it. And all right, I think that's it. Is that it?
That's it.
That feels
That's
like it, right? All right. Thank you. We'll be back.
Oh,
next
hold
week.
on, whoa. One more thing. Fuck. Where is it? Oh, here we go.
That was just
Andy Andrist opening for
Oh,
Billy
yeah.
Ray
oh
Davis
my God,
March
Shane,
18th
good catch.
at
Andy,
the
how are you
Siren
not?
Theater.
Yeah, I gotta get some notes together.
That's in Portland, right?
Yep, in Portland.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a lot of
Now
fun.
the Siren, I looked this up last week. The Siren Theater was a small little community theater, but they moved. So I think this is going to be in the new location, Andy.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen a show there.
I'll probably
over
eat
there. It
a lot
is
of
in
mushrooms and
Chinatown.
Humphreys, so I have material.
When's the Humphrey show? It's like next week, right?
No, Humphreys is like a couple weeks before the Billy Wayne show.
So
Right.
tickets for the show can be purchased at bwdtour.com.
Yeah.
BWD Tour.
The heart of Chinatown.
Yep.
Oh man,
right,
it's
that's
gonna be
it.
a lot of fun.
All right.
right.
My book was by Patrick Susskind. Perfume, the
man.
story of a murderer. It's a
This
different
one
one.
says
from
murder
Chaille.
in it, though.
Wait, that was a different thing that you were showing, Chaille?
Yeah. Perfume.
I guess so.
Perfume, the story of a murderer by Patrick Susskind. Sorry.
Two different products.
Hold on, let me look it up here.
There's a lot of perfumes on the market.
Well,
There
I
are.
think there is. That was why
a
I
couple of 'em.
double checked because when I looked, there was three
Chocolate.
different ones.
The perfume, The Alchemy of Scent sounds like a book about perfume companies.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. The story of murder. The story
This
of a
was like-
murderer.
Story of a murderer. Patrick.
1783. The place is Paris, right?
Yes.
Born under a fishmonger's bloody table in a marketplace. All right,
I
that's
hate
it.
fishmongers.
Born under a fishmonger's bloody table is also how this podcast started. So I think that's a perfect place to end. And
All
we
right.
love you. We'll see you next week. Peace.